Well, hello everyone, Too Clever Mafia. Once again, AJ, thank you for a wonderful intro. Boy, I love that intro music. It is good stuff, AJ. We're never gonna change that. Never. Never. And I want to welcome all my Mafians. Say hello to everyone. Welcome back. We are running strong. Another great episode headed your way of the Too Clever Mafia podcast. We have wow, should I give some teasers? Yeah, well, we somehow managed to get involved with a DeLorean, a pig farm, and working from home. Those somehow, and how we figure that out and how we're going to it's kind of a great combo. You can't make this stuff up. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great combination of different stuff. We really want to help our fellow Mafians and new listeners as well. And even if you're not a subscriber on our social medias, we still like to help you. We got some great work at home tips. I've got quite a few years of working at home, and I wanted to share some of those experiences with my fellow listeners. And feel free to head over to tooclevermafia.com and make sure you subscribe to all our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, YouTube. I'm running out of breath with all that stuff, AJ, but like and subscribe if you wish, and we definitely can bring you the latest info. Head over to Teespring. It's also, we have our new new season 1 merch over there. We got coffee mugs, bags, t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies. I like the hoodie, actually. I think I might buy one for next winter. Got the cup and the t-shirt here, but that's from the season 0 gear, where it has me with smoking a pipe, which we don't do anymore. But you definitely can listen to us on all of the different social media platforms. We have Anchor and Spotify, and I'm sure you've heard of Google Podcast and Apple and Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public. You can like all our episodes over there, and if you're listening to us in the gym, you do that afterwards, or in the car. Don't be playing with your phone in the car. I think it's illegal a lot of places. I know it's illegal here where my humble abode is, and we definitely want to like I said, welcome you all again. And if there's anything you say, we're going to post. A lot of our stuff is posted on YouTube, so we like ideas and critiques and all of that stuff. And feel free to drop us a line over on the YouTube channel on the video underneath it, and we check that the most. We also check out our Twitter stuff. Really, kind of, it's a podcast, so we're not doing too much stuff with the Instagram, but feel free to follow us if you wish. Discord, there's a lot of chatter over there. AJ has had that all set up and ready to go, but I don't want to have this long, drawn-out intro anymore, AJ. I think our listeners are going to know where to go, or, if it's a first-time listener, I don't want them to think we're just long, drawn-out intro, so we're going to try to keep our intros pretty short, and but yeah, we're going to give you some working from home tips considering the current circumstances. A lot of us are working from home, and kind of share my experience, and hopefully some of it will help you out. And then we go off the rails talking about the pig farm and Las Vegas and DeLorean. So we're going to get right into it, and I hope you definitely enjoy our show today. But it's going to be a fun show, and sit back, listen, relax, grab some snacks, and let's get this show on the road, AJ, right? We're going to cut this down? Yeah, we're going to cut this down. Usually we do a little bit of a longer intro, but we're going to get this show right on the road, get right to the nuts and bolts, right to the, what do they say, nitty-gritty. We're going to get right involved in all of the good stuff. Yeah, okay. Well, we will be right back, and hope you enjoy our show today, Mafians. Sit back and relax. Here I come. Too Clever Mafia. That's all I have to say about that. Well, welcome back, everyone. Hello, it's Too Clever Mafia once again. I'd like to say hi to all my Mafians and all you new listeners out there. The podcast is really picking up some steam, and I want to welcome everyone aboard. So today, a lot of us are working from home these days, and figured I'd bring some tips your way, and if anybody who wanted to get some information, we can share them together with one another. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be posting this onto YouTube, and you can comment your own personal tips you have for working from home. And so I spent quite a few years working for a big business, right? And AJ knows this story. And we are working for a big business. You do your 9 to 5, you go into your office, you do your thing, and you come home. But several years ago, I had an opportunity, years and years ago. My first job was offering me an opportunity to work from home a few days a week and here and there. And I was very excited about it because, going into the office, do a daily commute, all of that stuff, you're fighting the grind. It's very interesting, and it's a very, it's something that people who haven't worked from home are in, like, oh, I wish I didn't have to go to the office today, So I had, at the time, I remember speaking to an uncle of mine who worked from home for a short period of time, and had a very, very high profile position. And he had said to me when I had a conversation with him, and I said, I'm excited. My job is going to be to work from home, and I can do so many more things. And well, he had given me the advice. Well, wow, he had said, you want to work from home? And I said, yeah. Well, who doesn't? And he had that experience where I hadn't, and he said, I was really excited, and he was taken aback. He said, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And I said, okay, kind of took it for what it was worth, and then ended up not really thinking much of it. And shortly after that, I started working from home a few days a week. And the first few months were fun and not having to go into the office. But then you start realizing there's a lot of distractions in your home as opposed to when you do go to work. And some of us have jobs, obviously, that you have to go to work, and whether it's in retail or customer-facing jobs. But if you have a service job, or you have a job that can be done remotely via computer, you almost think that, well, I can work from home, and I get up, I have my cup of joe, and I go and I do my thing, and my day is over, and I don't even have to leave my pajamas. So, well, shortly after that, I realized a couple of months go by, and then you realize, wait a minute, I'm getting more work done at the office than I am at home because of the distractions, and it's so easy to put on the news or have an extra cup of coffee or kind of walk away from your computer and get involved in other tasks. And having a family as well, you have to worry about the other members of your family thinking you're just hanging around the house all day. And those distractions, hey, could you look at this for me? Can you do this? Can you see that? And then you bring children into the mix. It's a very, very complex balance that you have to learn how to do, right? You have to learn how to work it, and you really can't explain it ahead of time. And it just looks like a very promising situation until you're actually involved in it, right? Now, if you have the work area and the space, and you could easily convert maybe an office area or a desk area into, a home office, and you can close that door, and you have a big desk and library and books and all of that, and then it's a very, very probably more likely easy transition, but you really have to get that respect from the other members of your family, right? If you're living by yourself, well, probably easier to go get a snack and do all that too as well. I mean, even with your family. But so that concept of working from home, which a lot of us are experiencing now, which looked very well, very, very good, not as exciting in some instances. Now, this has been my experience. This has been a lot of other people I've spoken to, their experience. And it's just something that you need to experience to realize, well, it gives you that sense, for me personally, I will tell you, at one point, I've been driven, I've driven an hour each way to to an office, and that drive, now looking back, was a sense of almost meditation. The clarity and the just listening to music or podcasts, if you will, and that drive just kind of let you zone out for a little bit, maybe get your thoughts together and think of things and your creativity and mostly your job. And sometimes those drives are stressful because you're thinking about what's going to happen when you get to work. And when you get home and all the things, you're on the way home from work but that drive gave you a sense of clearness. It kind of wiped the plate clean before you went transitioned from your, sorry, I had a little thirst there. Transitioned from your home life to your work life and vice versa, right? So some big tips, which I'm sure a lot of us working from home now, because we have no other option, and I wanted to bring out, and that proper equipment, right? We'll start with number one, the proper equipment, we'll call it, right, AJ? You need a desk, you need a space that is only for work, that no one else uses, that it's just for you. If there's a shared desk, but it's a login, something where you can say, this is my work area, and you can kind of flip the switch and become you're a worker, and you do your job. That's your focus, right? Number one, a proper desk. Your monitors, I like multi-monitor setups, right? I've kind of, like I said before on my podcast, I'm kind of a medium tech guy, right? So I like to have multiple monitors, 2, 3, probably could do 4, but I like to have kind of maybe like a matrix thing, like a 6 monitor set, but I don't know how to do that. I'd get flagged by the power department to something, I don't know, but you definitely get that workspace. So it's like, hey, I'm ready to work. This is my area. I can be productive as much as I can as, during my work hours, right? The mouse. Some people don't think about this. There's trackball mouses, mice. Is that mouses? It's mice, but when it comes to computers, is it mouses? AJ, no? We're going to go with mice. Okay, well, trackball. Where you don't move your wrist, and it takes a little getting used to, but one of the ones that I use is a Logitech trackball, which I like a lot. Has a little blue ball, and you just kind of move your thumb around, and you click, and you right click, and you left click, and roll and scroll, and all that fun stuff. Allows me to work in a smaller area, right? And it's also, I think I'm a little faster with it as well. And then you have your regular mice, and then you have all that stuff. But that's something to consider, to be productive. And, along with number 2, we'll move along to the private work area. And other people in your household have to have respect for your workday. And that includes not interrupting you. If you're going to take a lunch break, you take a lunch break, right? But not interrupting you and almost pretending you're at work for the entire day, right? You take, and along with that, though, you do need to take regular breaks. You do need to take, because if you can get into a state where you're working from the time you get up all the way through the day. You really don't even stop, and you realize, where did lunch go? I didn't have my 3rd cup of coffee or whatnot. But you have to take those breaks as well, and avoid those outside distractions. One of the big things were, I had a little TV, and I would listen to the news on the side and have it playing in the background, but it started distracting me. So I have when I do work from home, I have an I'm at work signal, like a sign, and you can have a light, you can have whatever, but something that says, I'm at work, don't knock on my door unless the building is on fire. Leave me alone, I have work to do, I'm concentrating, because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten interrupted. I was right in the middle of something, I get interrupted, whatever that interruption is takes me off the road, and then I get back and like, where am I? And it takes you more time to get back into it, and it definitely decreases your productivity, right? So also I say, I don't know what we're on, AJ, we're on 3 or 4, but one of them is, try to get yourself a little pair of headphones, whether they're the pods, the little earbuds, pods things, and listen to some music or something that can, noise canceling, that can keep you focused. Because hearing things in the background, if you have a lot of people around, you can definitely be listening in on those conversations and get distracted that way, even if you're not even talking and whatnot, depending on where your area are. If you don't have a desk that's in an office with a closed door, that type of thing. And I know this, the other fellow co-workers I've had over the years as well, children can distract you when they're not even trying to distract you. So definitely have a door if you can, and try to keep those distractions to a minimum. The use of headphones, like I said, the ear pods, and it just, you know what I found? AJ, there's a thing on Spotify, right? And this is not an advertisement for Spotify, though I do enjoy their service. Actually, you can find the Do Clever Mafia podcast on Spotify. But I found that there's a little, I think it's Concentration Music for Work is the name of the title of the playlist. And you can listen to that. And I found that not too long ago. And I said, wow, this is great. It wasn't really songs. And for me, it wasn't really something that I was listening to the words and rocking the beat of. It was something that zoned out everything else. And I could just focus on work, right? I could just focus on work, and that was all I could do. Now, some people like to listen to country music, some people like to listen to rap and rock and classic and all of that, but you find in music something that will allow you to focus on solely what you're doing. It's very, very, very important, right? So these are just some tips for working from home. I hope I want to really get the conversation going, so head over to Too Clever Mafia, Too Clever Mafia on YouTube. Leave your comments. Leave some things that you can advise our other listeners to help us out. Things that you found very, very very helpful in your transition to working from home, and I'm sure everybody would love to hear it. And obviously, go over to our social medias if you want to post on our Twitter or our Facebook or Instagram. I don't know. I guess you can post words, right, AJ, on Instagram? No, I don't. Well, I guess you could. Well, post a working from home. Post a picture of your office. Just make sure you don't have any proprietary stuff in those photos, because I know my one of our employers, or one of our ex-employers, I should say, they didn't appreciate that too much. So, again, just wanted to share these tips with you. I love to hear from you all. And tooclevermafia.com, and we will be right back. So, hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you, AJ, for another lovely intro. So, we're going to continue on with our new segment. Got some success after we talked about Sears. We're going to call it Old Ad Copy. And today we are going to read an old ad from DeLorean Motor Company. DeLorean. AJ, do you remember the DeLorean? They were very popular back in that stainless steel car or something along those lines. They were in Back to the Future, right? Remember that car? Well, did you know that only 9,000 of those DeLoreans were made? That's what and only 9,000 were sold, and they shut down back in 1982. I think there was some sort of corruption or some scandal or something along those lines back in the day, but those DeLoreans, and that movie Back to the Future was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that. I've watched them all. Which was my favorite? Well, that's a tough one. I mean, the originals are always good. I like the original. I kind of like when they went to the Old West. And if I remember correctly, when they made that movie, and I could be wrong, but they filmed part 2 and 3 at the same time. So, the first one, he goes back to, I don't know, the 50s, I believe, and kind of meets his mother. Remember all that stuff? And then his father gets hit by a car by his mother's father or something along those lines, and very crazy kind of, I don't know how PC that whole storyline would be in today's day and age, but back then I guess it was okay. And then the second one was I believe they went to... I don't remember. I remember the Old West one. For some reason, I remember the one with the train, and Doc gets on the train and actually goes and has to go 88 miles an hour using all these different color Duraflame logs, and throws them in the oven, and they light up, and the smoke comes out in different colors and stuff, and then he's got to jump some gorge. Remember all that? Yeah. Very good movie. It was fun, entertaining, simpler time. Had Mike J. Fox in it. Very talented actor, and Doc was Christopher Lloyd, a very good actor as well. I remember Christopher Lloyd back when he used to play on Taxi. Do you remember that? Remember that show? You might be a little young for that, but Taxi was a show and had Danny DeVito on it. It was Tony Danza, I think. The boss. You know, who's the boss? That's a whole nother thing. I don't know if Tony Danza was the boss, or the woman was the boss, or the girl, his daughter, who was what was her name? Samantha Fox, I think. Yeah. I don't know why I can remember all these names from the 80s and 90s, but can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. But either way, getting back to this, kind of went a little off the rails like the train and Back to the Future. But DeLorean Motor Company, yeah, there was a scandal around DeLorean Motor Company. I think, if I remember correctly, there was, I don't know if it was a Ponzi scheme. I forget, and I don't want to Google it and Wikipedia it right now, but I think there definitely was some bad news around it. But if you know some more info, I'll probably post this over in YouTube land. You feel free to comment if you know more interesting information about the story and the backstory between DeLorean Motor Company. Stainless steel car. I don't know if they all came with the flux capacitor though. I think that was a whole nother thing. But just a reminder, head over to Teespring. You can search for Too Clever Mafia. Our Season 1 No Pipe image shirts are available, and mugs and bags and all that fun stuff. Feel free to join us on our social media over at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Discord. AJ set up a Discord account. YouTube, of course, YouTube. Like and subscribe our videos as much as you can. It does help us out. You can always head over to our website over at tooclevermafia.com. Don't forget to check us out over there. Definitely at you can on YouTube. We're going to be posted. We've already posted a few behind the scenes videos. Obviously, you can see all our Season 0. Well, I don't know if all the Season 0 stuff is on there. I think there's a few videos that we had to delete due to content, but there's some Season 1 videos. It's basically me sitting and talking, so that's what came up with the idea. We said, I'm just going to sit here and talk, and I'm not too much of an animated fella. I thought it'd be the same doing a podcast, and then we can get more detailed information and have a longer time together. So kind of a little inside Easter egg there. But you can definitely listen to all the podcasts and we've really expanded quite quick, AJ. But we're on all the major listening services, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, of course, Apple. So pick your favorite. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Definitely helps us out, and feel like I said, our best place, drop us some comments. You can also Twitter, you can drop us comments there, but best place would be in our YouTube segments. Drop us some comments and tell us how you feel about the show, some things you'd like us to speak about. And we've got dozens and dozens and dozens of shows and quite a few interviews already lined up, kind of just producing this stuff day and night. But every Friday we hope to launch a new episode for you, and we might even be able to increase that and do it a couple of times a week. But want to make sure the content we're providing is good. But so this is our ad segment with DeLorean Motor Company, and if there's any other things that you might think would be a good fact, like I said, for DeLorean Motor Company, feel free to edit in. Hey AJ, speaking of the DeLorean, was it ever in any other movie, that car, that you know? No, nothing that you know of? Yeah, I see the DeLorean around quite often in car shows, and they always have them made up to be the Back to the Future model. I even saw one that had in the movie Back to the Future, I think the first one, they had to have, what was it, plutonium? Yeah, they had to run it with plutonium. And Doc gets shot, and Marty goes back. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but by now I think the movie's got to be 20 plus years old. So you may want to catch up on it if you haven't. But there was 3 episodes of it, three movies. But anyway, and then they later on, what I was getting to was they had the flux capacitor, right, which was that 3-pronged kind of lighty LED fixture they had, but they powered it later on by what was it, Mr. Fusion? Was it the name of it? I believe it was something on where they could put garbage in it and run it, right? And I'm like, well, the reason why I've seen cars at these car shows with that piece kind of added to it, that almost looked like a food processor kind of on the back. But my one question though, if Doc could invent a food processor that can develop enough energy that would equal plutonium, how? And then later he comes back at the very end, if you remember, he comes back in a train as well. But how is he not a billionaire? How is he not taking his invention to make a plutonium amount of power out of garbage? If you went down to the Las Vegas Strip, took all the food from the buffets that no one ate, how they could take that food and give it to some sort of food processing power plant, and you could power the entire East Coast. That would have been a movie. You know, because I think right now, and many of you know this, I spent some time out on the West Coast and lived there for a little bit in the Las Vegas area. And they took, at the time I was there, they took a lot of the food extra from the buffets. And you don't think about this, but the food, they extract all the metal, because people throw out utensils quite often, and they extract all the metal and stuff from the garbage. And then they take the food in the buffets, and then they actually, then they extract all the metal, and then they take all of the garbage, and then they would ship it. There was a pig farm up in North Las Vegas, right? At the time, I don't even know if it's still there, and they used to take this garbage, boil it at this pig farm, boil it up. There was a Dirty Jobs episode, by the way. Mike Rowe did a whole thing on it, but it was a pig farm up there, and they would boil it and feed the slop then to all of the pigs, and then the Vegas Strip, I don't know who and what and when and where and how, but they would then buy those pigs back. And that's pretty crazy if you think about it. It's like almost a fully sustainable thing. And then the pigs would go back and forth, and you know, pigs would be grown by the food, and then but they would boil. And I know the reason why I know this is the people that lived up in that area, when they would boil this food, it would really smell up the area. When you purchased a home in the area, you had to sign this whole thing that there was this pig farm up there, and it's really a big thing for that area. And I think it's North Las Vegas, right? So don't know if it's still there. I don't know. I know the casinos wanted to buy the land, and then the owner wouldn't sell, and it was this whole big story for quite some time. But kind of went off track a little bit, but that would be a great movie, right? That would be a great movie, how Doc was able to, you know, well, I guess the Doc character probably not, but anyway, as usual, we went off on a little bit of a tangent here, and we will be right back after a short break. We'll do a short break, AJ, okay? I will talk to you soon, Muffins. Well, welcome back, my Muffins. This is Too Clever Mafia again, and I hope you all had a great time listening to our podcast today. Some crazy stuff, right? We start where we think we're going to start, and then we end up where we have no clue, right? You know, we started talking about, hopefully you got some new insight on the Back to the Future movies, which we were talking about the DeLorean for a little bit. Hopefully some of our tips for working from home were helpful. right? Get that quiet area, put up that sign, that kind of thing. Make sure you get your exercise, very important. And then Pig Farm, AJ, I know, was a little surprised about that. And if you really think about that concept where people eat at the buffet and throw out their garbage, it ends up north. They grow more pigs, they feed the pigs, and then the pigs end up back at the buffet. Wow, that is a real cycle of life, isn't it? I don't know if it's still done that way, but anyway. And then we end up in some crazy time areas. But please, if you like our show, we'd love to have you as a member of our Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Discord or even over on YouTube. We start up our conversations over on YouTube, and I will personally be looking at those and responding back if you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask or any shows you'd like me to put on, and I'd be happy to take a look at them. Head over to our Teespring. It really helps us out. We have all our Too Clever Mafia merchandise, which is our shirts and bags and stickers and all that fun stuff. Like I said, Season 1, no pipe. Season 0, pipe. Your choice. Season 0 might be going away soon, but it's still available from what I understand. And you obviously are listening to us on your favorite podcast. What do they call them? Podcast? That wouldn't be a reader, right? It would be a podcast listener or app. I guess app. I mean, they're all apps, right? But sorry, I'm only medium tech. But definitely we're on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Apple, and like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that on our podcast. Not while you're driving. Don't do it while you're driving. It's important. We don't want that to happen. Check out all our behind-the-scenes footage on YouTube, and visit us at www.tooclevermafia.com. Some great stuff on there. And if you like our show and you like our content, we'd love to have you as one of our subscribers over on Patreon to help support the show. We have a lot of support from our fellow YouTube days, and we're always looking for new supporters. And who knows, you may end up being asked to be a guest on the show. We do have some great interviews coming up, and we're always looking for more great people to feature on our episodes. And we will have another episode for you, if all goes well, every Friday. So you're listening to us today, and it's Friday, right, where we are? Yeah, it's Friday. So TGIF, and I really enjoy talking to you and bringing you my insights, and hope you enjoy listening. So to all my Mafians, all my new listeners, hope to see you, and see you. AJ, you got to change this copy, right? Because they can't see me. Well, I know we're filming live for YouTube, but will it end up on YouTube with my mug? I don't know. I think that might scare away some people. But anyway, thank you for listening. This is Too Clever Mafia, and that's all I have to say about that.